I said, hey yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Mojados, and I'm back with another video. I hope you guys are doing well, because today we're going to be talking everything Bitcoin, right? So everything you need to know about what has happened in the past month. I want to give you my full thoughts and provide updates here. You guys are aware we do this every single month here, and for those who are following me on Twitter, following me on YouTube with their alerts on, you guys are not missing it, because as you are aware, for those who are watching back on 12/31, we talked about this level here reclaiming, right? And guess what? The level was reclaimed like we spoke about in that video. And then guess what? The month after, right? Because 3 weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, February is a short month. It's basically going to be a month from now. You're going to see that we posted another video, which basically talks about 25K being hit, and how 25K was the big moment for a pause. I explained it in that video, and again, we hit the 25K mark, and now we're retracing. And the point of it all is that, guys, I am not a wizard. I'm not here to toot my own horn. We were right on the money for a reason. I've been doing this for 5 years. I'm not saying I'm always going to be right, but there is a method to the madness, and I want to just show you guys how accurate we were by hitting 25K here, flushing out the liquidity from the high as expected, and now the retracement starts. So Mo, next question that people will probably have in their mind is, hey, where do we go from here? And the real question is, if the market has bottomed, which I believe for the most part it has, that we continue to go up. Now, the retracement can pretty much do anything so long as it stays in the range here above 17,600. My opinion is that it's going to be bullish. Now, the less it retraces, the more bullish it is, right? If it doesn't come back down to the 61.8 level here around 19.1K, that's great. If it can stay above 38.2 level, that is even better, guys. So again, it's going to be important to watch how this correction plays out. Corrections can be complex. They can be, slow and drag on for quite a while. But the point of it all is that we've hit our targets. We were right on the bottom here, and now we've hit our 25K target. And the question is basically, pretty much what are the levels? And again, the levels are very simple. 17.6K is what I'm watching. So long as we hold above here, there's no reason to kind of panic too much about what the hell to expect. And again, this correction can play out in many different ways, right? We can probably see a slow drag down to here. We can probably even see it drag out here and then go higher again, right? There's a lot of ways it can play out. Nobody knows exactly how it's going to play out. But what I do on this channel, what I like to talk about is levels. And the reason why we're so bullish here is because it was under this range. And for those who are paying attention to this channel, you guys know that every single range has liquidity levels. Every single range has areas where most people are going to be stopped out at. There's a reason why when this move happened, you saw $300 million worth of liquidations, because people were extremely bearish at the worst time. And that proves my theory that, hey, the market is going to move in directions where most people are going to get stopped out from. So right now, I expect this to, again, fan out, but I'm still very bullish, so do not get that twisted. I want to just take a moment to visit this chart again. I know I shared it last month, but when we look at the similarities, when we look at what's happened thus far, you can clearly see a correlation of how these ranges all play out. There's always a moment of consolidation. There's always a moment of a wick that plays out in some way, shape, or form, whether that's at the end of the range, whether that's at the beginning of the range, or whether that's going a little bit under the range. There's still a wick that takes place, stops people out, and then there's a reclaim. And that's the final part that I want to share with you guys, is that there's always a reclaim in every single one of these ranges. And you can see here, this is pretty much the bread and butter of my strategy. Pretty much a reclaim showing us that this is a moment to go long. That is the moment that we should definitely be paying attention. And what you can see is each and every time the range is reclaimed, we see a local bottom put in, okay? And when I say local bottom, basically no one knows where the macro bottom is unless you have a money printer. Everyone is speculating. Now, of course, do I believe this is the macro bottom? Most likely it is. That doesn't mean we can't go lower. However, I'm going to stick to my guns here, and I'm going to probably believe that this is the bottom here. And there's a few other indicators I'm going to show throughout the video that kind of tell me that the market has potentially bottomed. But all in all, this looks very good here, and I believe that, you know, we're probably going to see either a breakout of this range, where at some point in time we get out of this 25K level and make this into a support, just like we saw over here, right? You can see that there's a break above this level, and then it turns into support, and then that's when it starts going up. So it's going to be important to watch these levels, because these levels represent, you know, psychology. Okay, so it's very important to understand that, and make sure that you understand that these ranges go sideways for some time as well, right? They're not going to all play out the same. And if anything that this market has taught us is that everything is pretty much here to screw you over. And right now, guys, if you look at the market, it's pretty much doing things that we've never seen before, right? You can see here that in 2013 we saw a all-time high, and then in 2019 you see an all-time high, blow off top. But for the first time in history, again, in 2021, when the bull market ended, you saw a double top. Never happened in Bitcoin history. Guess what? Price retraces to previous all-time highs. Never happened in Bitcoin history. And this leads me to my bearish case, is that it's possible that 5 waves have been completed, that we're beginning a retracement of some shape. You can see here, whether that's an ABC. So even my bearish scenario is still bullish, right? Because at the end of the day, the markets have cycles. The markets don't move in straight lines, and they're meant to fake you out. So I believe that it's possible we go up to even 40 or 30K even. It's possible. And then after that, we get a bigger retracement that does take us lower, whether that's going to be a zigzag, a flat, it can even be a triangle. It's possible that we do get something that plays out where it's a running correction, right? It's possible that we, keep going sideways here. There's many different ways this can play out. The reason why I have an ABC here, just because of the example I'm trying to provide, is that basically, as you can see here, after 5 waves are put in, when a wave crosses into wave 4 and 3, which you can see here, right? This is wave 3 and 4. You can see A intersecting into this area. That's pretty much a sign that the trend is weakening. Okay, and it's very evident here that this is following a similar pattern. Now, again, I want to be very clear. It doesn't mean it has to follow it to the T. It just means that it's going to happen in a slow or a different style per se. That could be a complex correction. It could be X waves. It could be failed impulses. There's many different things to consider, especially when we look at Elliott wave and try to analyze each and every move. But again, I know this looks bearish, but it's not. Under the grand scheme of things, this move here up to 40K can just be the beginning of a move. And people might get baited into believing it's a wave 1 and 2. And that is why I'm going to keep updating you guys on this channel, because then when I see the move, if the move is very, very strong, or if the move, has a lot of, volume behind it, it could change my opinion. It can sway my opinion to be more bullish than I would be, versus looking at a corrective B wave that's bearish. So again, it's going to be a matter of time of when it does happen. And again, I want to be very clear here. In the past, I've been wrong. And I've been vocal about it, right? If you guys come to my Twitter, which has now been reinstated, I was banned for a while, you guys can see here that even back in September 11 of 2021, I was talking about Bitcoin going up here, right? And it was actually perfect. We did get this retracement down to this low. We went back up to 69K, even put in a new all-time high, and then retraced. Now, that worked out perfectly, but guess what? We didn't stop at C. We actually kept going lower, and that's what stop losses are for. We were still able to change our, bias, from down here even. I was actually, I tweeted back early in July talking about catching this low, catching this move all the way up to here as well, pretty much exiting BTC. And then going lower, and then so what? Maybe you did enter along at around 32 or 33K. Cut your losses. The gains pretty much were way out of like the P&L, pretty much like the profit and losses were just way more significant than the losses if you just use proper risk management. And again, none of this is financial advice. If you don't know how to use proper risk management, then you should not even be trading. But the point of it is that if you can, have proper risk management, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how you trade sometimes, right? I've seen the most craziest strategies, but besides the point, I want to come back here. It's very, very interesting because, I'm open to all ideas so long as they're presented in a manner that, is based off of some data and some reason, and you're using some type of logic there, I can get behind an opinion, right? So again, these are the things I'm looking out for, and the macro environment is interesting. I do want to share here, this is the stablecoin dominance chart. What you can see here is that whenever this is going up, we pretty much see a bear rally, and when it's going down, crypto is pretty much going up. So this is also something else to consider. And also another chart to throw into the mix is the total chart. The total chart pretty much includes all of the cryptocurrency, market cap combined. And what you can see here is something else that I've been talking about on my Twitter, guys. And the reason why I keep talking about my Twitter, guys, is because I like to tweet here, and I'm going to show you guys, what I've been talking about pretty much since August 11, right? So people might just be thinking, hey, this guy's just talking a whole bunch of hot air for no reason, right? But you can see here since September 11, liquidity taken from both sides. From the range high, you see the range low. Of course, there was a failure. The reclaim didn't happen when we expected it. But guess what? As the months progressed, as time went on, the momentum was there. We were still having, a lot of, narratives carry out with consolidation. Remember what I spoke about with these bottoms, the consolidation. And if anything, this looks very familiar like BTC, guys. You can see here the high sweep, and then you're seeing the low sweep here. And the ranges, just like I've shared, this is one big range. And then eventually what's going to happen out of this range, which is pretty much what we're looking at now, is a reclaim eventually. When this 1.13 trillion is reclaimed, guys, you should just forget about it. The market is going to go absolutely bonkers, and I'm super excited for that. I'll be talking about it here on this channel. So again, make sure you're tuning in if you're interested. Another thing I want to talk about pretty much before I close this off is pretty much the 1 year HODL wave, and I'm going to also look at some other on-chain metrics. So it's just very, very important to look at different things, because also on-chain does explain things from a different perspective, because at the end of the day, we're kind of limited to just looking at price action, but looking at on-chain might not necessarily give us price indications sometimes or help us forecast, but it helps us understand consumer sentiment. And what you can see here is 68% of people, I think it was, right? 68% of people are holding their Bitcoin for over a year untouched. So that's amazing. You're also seeing 0.01 addresses climbing at an all-time high, which is also really cool. Same story for 0.1 BTC and same story for 1 Bitcoin. And you're also seeing 10 Bitcoin rise, and you started seeing 100 Bitcoin rise. But the big picture that makes me confused is that 1,000 address wallets are dumping their Bitcoin. And this makes me curious, okay? Are these wallets dumping faster than the little fishes are accumulating, right? Because, if 200, 1,000 BTC wallets are selling, right? You see a bunch of little fishies jumping in, but that selling pressure, I don't know if that equates exactly to all the buying pressure that's happening. It makes me very curious. I wish there was some type of calculator there, but whales are gonna get out. I'm gonna take a quick sip of water here. The whales want to get out, so that's pretty interesting, right? So we're gonna see how this ages. But again, the network does remain strong fundamentally. The hash rate is increasing, and this is another indicator. It's called the Pure multiple. Whenever it comes down to the green, it's an indication the market is bottomed. Clearly, you see a move off the low, which is obviously very good. And I wanted to share one other thing here, right? So this is the RSI as well. I'm going to remove these indicators. And what you can see here is the same exact thing I spoke about last month, how this area was pretty much going to pump off the lows. And this is exactly what happened. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I don't give a shit if you take this video and use the advice or not. The point is that all this stuff is working out for a reason, right? We don't just sit there and try to speculate off of nonsense. But when you look at all these indicators, when you start making the correlations and you start understanding that these patterns do repeat sometimes, you can put yourself in a position to succeed. And that's pretty much the point I'm trying to make across here. Of course, documenting it is fun as well, but that's pretty much the name of the game, guys. It's very, very interesting, taking a look at all these different indicators. But you know, it all boils back down to this. This is the chart that I'm watching out for. I know that BTC is probably in an area to retrace, but this area here, guys, the total chart is the most important chart, because if it does reclaim this 1.13 trillion, the market will have bottomed, and then, you know, most likely what that means is Bitcoin is going to start rallying. Now, of course, how long does it rally for? That's the question you're going to have to be tuned in for next month. When we get more data and more information, we'll be able to give you more of a reasonable forecast. And with that, I thank you for making it to the end of the video. Please like and subscribe if you have not already. And as always, hado. Peace.